Yeah, I'll react to that, sure. Hey guys. I spilt water on my shirt, but it will dry. It's fine. The original link to the video, top of the description, Mark Felton Productions, fantastic channel. All the King's coaches, Royal Mews at Buckingham Palace. What is a Mew? Pokemon. No. Yep, let's learn, guys. Let's go. Oh, wait. Preemptive like. Hope everyone's doing swell. Looks so like Roman style. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Faithful viewers of this channel will recall a disastrous visit my wife and I paid to Buckingham Palace last summer.
I didn't see that video.
However, there is one redeeming feature to Buckingham Palace that I want to highlight today. I'm not talking about the exit. The place I'm referring to is the Royal Mews, where the King's ceremonial horses and coaches are kept. A working stables beside the palace. The staff here are really...
Just let me go back 10 seconds, please,
Royal
guys.
Mews, where the King's ceremonial horses and coaches are kept. A working stables beside the palace. The staff here are really excellent and friendly. The mews built at Buckingham Palace suggest the latest incarnation of royal mews that have existed at earlier palaces for hundreds of years. Opened in 1825, it has been in continuous use ever since, and as well as royal horses and coaches, royal cars are also kept here ready for use by the King and his family. Some 30 horses are kept at the mews, depending on the time of year, together with state cars.
Is that a Rolls Royce? And my car people, anyone who knows what this car is.
Horses are
Rolls
kept
Royce,
at the
I'm
mews,
guessing?
depending on the time of year, together with state cars, and the royal coachmen, grooms, chauffeurs and other staff can live on site in flats above the carriage houses and stable blocks. Some carriages are still in daily use, while others are only seen on special state occasions. Here are some of the collection's highlights. The semi-state landau date from the reign of Queen Victoria, the Royal Mews housing several of these very practical vehicles. This type of coach, pulled by two pairs of horses, are often used for official or ceremonial duties. For example, newly appointed High Commissioners for Commonwealth countries travel in a semi-state landau when they present their credentials to the King at the palace. Queen Alexandra's state coach is one of the...
Am I the only one who's... It kind of looks like a top hat on wheels? Like it should be an Alice in Wonderland or something. Mad Hatter.
Commonwealth countries.
Sorry. All right. Why do I keep apologizing?
Queen Alexandra's state coach is one of the oldest in the mews, built in 1865 and converted in 1893 for the then Princess of Wales, later Queen Alexandra, the Danish consort of King Edward VII. She used this carriage regularly until her death in 1925. Since 1962, the coach has been used to carry the imperial state crown, the sword of state, and the cap of maintenance during the procession accompanying the state opening of Parliament. At this time, it has a mounted escort from the household cavalry and is saluted as if it is carrying a member of the royal family. The Irish state coach was purchased by Queen Victoria and her husband Prince Albert in 1853, after it caught their attention at the Great Industrial Exhibition in Dublin. Queen Victoria used this coach often, in preference to the huge gold state coach. More on that later.
How heavy are these
On the
things?
top of the coach is a gold frieze added in 1876, when Victoria was proclaimed Empress of India, including a palm of Indian amongst a rose of England, a thistle of Scotland, and a shamrock of Ireland. Sadly, in 1911, during restoration work, a fire destroyed most of the wooden body of this coach. It was rebuilt in a record 19 weeks and took part in the coronation procession of King George V. The glass coach famously carried Lady Elizabeth Bowes Lyon to Westminster Abbey for her 1923 marriage to the Duke of York, later King George VI.
Who was that?
Westminster Abbey Glass coach famously carried Lady Elizabeth Bowes Lyon to Westminster Abbey
Lyon.
for her 1923 marriage to the Duke of York, later King George VI. Queen Elizabeth II, then Princess Elizabeth, also used this coach to travel to her wedding ceremony to Prince Philip of Greece and Denmark. It is called the glass coach due
I knew he was Prince of Greece. I did not know Denmark as well. That's new to me.
to Prince Philip of Greece and Denmark. It is called the glass coach due to glass being used in all the top panels and was originally acquired for the 1911 coronation of King George V. It is now used to carry royal brides to their weddings. The coach weighs 1 ton and in the state...
Sorry, I'm still caught on the Denmark and Greece thing. Seems like such a random combination of two European countries. Kind of opposite on the continent. I'd like to learn about that more.
of King
Sorry,
George
guys.
V. It is now used to carry royal brides to their weddings. The coach weighs 1 ton, and in the state opening of Parliament, it carries the ladies in waiting and the master of the horse, the ceremonial head of the Royal Mews. The Scottish state coach was built in 1830 and was purchased by Queen Mary, the consort of King George V, in 1930, so it was already 100 years old when it entered royal service.
Just want to say 1 ton is actually a little lighter than I expected.
It became the Scottish state coach in 1968, with the Order of the Thistle insignia added to the side panels, this Order of Chivalry being the preeminent order in Scotland today. The Queen used this coach whilst visiting Scotland for official occasions, and it also figured in London processions, famously in 2016 for the Queen's 90th birthday celebrations at Windsor Castle. The Australian state coach is one of the most recent coaches added to the Royal Mews, built between 1986 and 88.
Probably my favorite looking so far.
Presented to the Queen in Canberra, Australia in 1988. A gift from the Australian people and partly funded by the Australian government, it is entirely built from Australian materials. The Queen often used it during the state opening of Parliament, and it carried the King and Queen Camilla, then of course known as the Prince of Wales and the Duchess of Cornwall, along with Catherine Middleton's parents, from Westminster Abbey to Buckingham Palace following the wedding of Prince William and Catherine Middleton in 2011.
I think that's
a
favorite.
throwback to an earlier type of daily use carriage is King Edward VII's town coach. Before the popularisation of the car, the Royal Mews had several of these plainer coaches, but all were disposed of in World War II except this one. Placed in storage, it was restored in 1964 and given glass windows.
Gives me funeral vibes. Am I weird there?
At the state opening of Parliament, it carries the ceremonial maces. The newest coach is the Diamond Jubilee State Coach, again made in Australia and eventually arriving in Britain in 2014. It was most recently seen carrying the King and Queen to their coronation at Westminster Abbey in 2023. It weighs 2 3/4 tons and has electric windows, heating, hydraulic stabilizers and air conditioning. The crown atop
I'm battling here with myself. I'm kind of upset that my two favorites so far have been the newer ones. And I don't know how I feel about all the modern amenities. But I guess if you can have air conditioning, I'm sure it gets pretty hot on sunny days. I can't get mad, but I can't help that it's like, oh.
The roof is carved from timber from Lord Nelson's flagship HMS
All right,
Victory.
it's my favorite. Okay, it's my favorite. Never mind, I take everything back.
Atop the roof is carved from timber from Lord Nelson's flagship HMS Victory. And timber segments from many royal buildings and vehicles are incorporated in the coach, including the Tower of London, Henry VIII's flagship, the Mary Rose, Balmoral Castle, St Paul's Cathedral, Windsor Castle, and the Stone of Scone, used in coronations.
My favorite.
And even material from the Franklin expedition to the Canadian Arctic.
Jesus! Oh my God. All right, this is the best one. It's hands down. I have listened to both I'm too excited now. The coffee's kicking in. Why am I having more? What was I gonna say? Franklin Expedition. I've for some reason I love listening to like cold weather exploration, late or like mid to late 1800s, mid to late 1800s, early 1900s. Franklin Expedition for 1800, and then the Scott Amundsen, what's his name? Well, he just said it, I think.
And even the stone from
No.
the back.
I'm gonna lose myself. His ship was found pretty recently in the Arctic. Oh my God! Please, someone. Shackleton. Oh God! I love listening like Shackleton's journeys and Amundsen and Scott and Franklin Expedition, which is pretty scary, and it obviously ended horribly. But I got way too excited there. Sorry. I just love all of the history incorporated into this.
Battle of Britain's Spitfire and a Dambuster's Lancaster bomber, and even part of a musket ball from the Battle of Waterloo. The door...
Oh my God, it wasn't finished. The canning technology at the time wasn't perfect, and they had lead-lined sealing of the cans, so a lot of their food stockpile on the Franklin Expedition was laced with lead, and I don't think it was the only reason that it failed, but I think it was a big one.
Material from the Franklin expedition to the Canadian Arctic given by Canada, a Battle of Britain's Spitfire and a Dambuster's Lancaster bomber, and even part of a musket ball from the Battle of Waterloo.
Stop. Please.
The door handles were made in New Zealand and contained 24 diamonds and 130 sapphires, while the lamps were made in Edinburgh. Perhaps the most famous coach is the biggest, the Gold State Coach.
That was a lot to take in.
That was last seen at the coronation of the King in 2023.
How heavy is this guy?
It was commissioned by King George III in 1760 and delivered in 1762. Drawn by 8 horses, it has a wooden frame covered in gold leaf with a velvet and silk interior, and it weighs an astonishing 4 tons. It has been used in the coronation of every British monarch, from William IV to Charles III. Note,
it's got 8 horsepower. Get it? Okay, sorry.
Notoriously uncomfortable and possessed of a tendency to roll like a ship in high seas, Queen Elizabeth II famously described it as horrible and not very comfortable, and she didn't use it for her Diamond Jubilee journey at the age of 86. My personal favourite is this rather ordinary donkey barouche.
Imagine having that amazing thing and being like, oh, it's terrible. Use the other one.
Which was used by Queen Victoria, favourite, at the age of 86.
Come down.
My personal favourite is this rather ordinary donkey barouche, which was used by Queen Victoria when she was old, using it on holiday in the south of France and at Osborne House, her home on the Isle of Wight. I like donkeys a lot, and so I like the idea of a donkey pulling a queen. It was restored in 1962 and was used by the Queen at Windsor Castle, sometimes to give rides to her children, pulled by a Shetland pony. Since 1843, a brougham like this is still used daily to carry the mail between Buckingham Palace and St James's Palace, which I think is a very nice tradition indeed. It is a very useful vehicle, a brougham being smaller than the other coaches and able to turn very sharply. So I commend to you the Royal Mews, well worth a visit if you're ever in London. And if you'd like to see more of the cars of the royal family, the Queen's former collection of royal vehicles is on display at Sandringham in Norfolk, and is also well worth a visit. And if you can't get there, I've made a video about that as well. Link in...
Is that a Volkswagen? No, not. Oh my God, I'm a dumb one. Rolls Royce?
The end screen, well worth a visit. And if you can't get there, I've made a video about that as well. Link in the end screen. Many thanks for watching.
Awesome video.
Please subscribe and share, and also visit my audiobook channel, War Stories with Mark Felton. You can also help to support both of my channels at PayPal and Patreon. Details in the description box below.
Fantastic.
Maces.
That was awesome. I mean, I don't think it's even close. The one with all of those pieces of... It kept getting better. Like, by the time he said stuff from Waterloo and whatnot, I was just already overcome with how awesome all of the other stuff was. And it was just... Love you guys. Hope you're all doing well. Would appreciate any comments below. Sorry if I was a bit crazy this video. And hopefully I'll see you next time. All right? Bye, guys.